Victor. Either way, and it's Cabral, like the brawl,
Cabral.
backyard brawl. Look at that.
Yeah. All right. Questions, Greg?
So Vic, start with. I mean, a month, 2 months. I don't even know how. It's not been long. So the adjustment here, and you mentioned Power 5, but does it feel different?
Yeah, I tell you what, the greatest profession in the world is coaching. You know, at any level. It was January 18th when I got the nod up here, and it was an unbelievable blessing to be a part of Coach Brown's staff and the vision that he has been able to establish over the last few years. Yeah, you know, the kids are all the same, and I know at times it gets kind of crazy in the world of college athletics, but at the end of the day, these guys just want to help win. They want to win, and they want to make West Virginia proud, and for us coaches, we got to make sure we're continuing to raise that bar for them. So it's been awesome. It's been so great, and looking forward to getting my family up here too.
So I know that Jordan has said similar systems that you've worked in the past. Has there been a learning curve for you as to what you're supposed to teach? Yeah, there is a little bit of a learning curve. I come from a 3-4 system, last about 6-7 years, and there's some nuances. You know what I tell people? It's not exactly learning Chinese. It's just learning new dialect, and so there's some new terms, some new things that we're asking our Spurs to do that I hadn't done in the past as much. But these guys that I got, the leadership of Tyron Bradley has been awesome, and newcomer Ty French has been great, and Braden Dudley has been right there, and we even got a mid-year freshman in OB, and he's drinking out of a fire hose like I am right now, but he's doing a great job. So it's been great, and we're just trying to establish the relationships and cultivating what West Virginia's been able to do in the past from last year, and just continue to build towards that. So it was a great day today.
What about this job attracted you to it?
I said it earlier. I mean, Coach Brown is I've known those guys for a long time, since their days at Troy. When I was at Samford, we used to go down there and visit with them. We used to work camps together, and I've always respected what Coach Leslie and Coach Brown and Coach Moore, the O-line coach. I just thought the world of them. Now we played against each other at Georgia Southern. I'd rather not say the record of that. So the fans out there can look that up. We did get one of them, so that was good. But the vision of this program and what it means to this state, and just the position that we're in here to continue to climb. And I hate to use a coaching cliche, but if you're out there that practice, you know the energy and you know the message that coach is giving. And these guys that we're playing, that are playing, I mean, they're a lot of fun to be around. They put a lot of work and time into it, and so they're just all trying to do their best.
Coach, how much were the Mountaineers just on your radar from afar? I know you're coaching your team and focused on your team, but obviously last year here,
Yep.
big turnaround from the year before.
Yep.
But around the country, people were kind of down on the program. Were you surprised? Were you expecting it? You knew the coaches?
No, I was not surprised at all. And again, I've been in this business for 17 years, I think, and I'm about people. And going back to Coach Leslie, me and him have always been really, really good, like really good friends first. So we would always check up on us. So I'm always going to find out how my past guys that I respect and care about, how they're doing week to week. So, but yeah, I was always following, and heck, West Virginia has always been since I was in high school. One of my teammates in high school, Pat Liebig, actually played for West Virginia, and he was a little bit younger than me. I think he was a sophomore and I was a senior. I was glad I was getting out of there because he was really good. I didn't want to lose my spot. No, I don't. I think he's a Kia. I don't drive Kias. I don't know if they're a sponsor or not. If they are, I apologize. But.
I think people here that you came from a 3-4 that's obviously got two outside linebackers. Here, there's the same, but it's a kind of a different scheme with the Bandit doing the hybrid stuff and those things.
Yep.
So how much has that changed the techniques that you work with on them, or is that just mostly, hey, breeding the ball in after the snap? What are the differences? Yeah,
there's a technique difference in both the spur, which is the position on the boundary side, and the spear, which is the position on the field side. The great thing about this defense and how Coach Leslie's been molding it with Coach Shadon, it's really a hybrid of a lot of different concepts and being able to get the best 11 guys on the field. So yes, and the great thing about this is the terminology does carry over from call to call. So there'll be some times where you can put a certain player that's used to playing a spur and put him to the field, and the responsibilities are still the same. So it's a very fluid defense, and it really helps when you have some guys out there like Big Ham, who's been making some plays, and Trotter's been doing a great job. It's just those guys are flying around. The ball is the issue, and it doesn't matter what scheme you're running. If you can tackle well and get the ball back to the offense and let them go do their thing, life will be good up here.
Bigger challenge to avoid confusion. I mean, with a lot of flexibility, it seems like could come a little bit of, hey, I've got so many different things going on that I might do from one snap to the next.
We try to make it as simple as possible for the guys. I think that's the thing that I really respect the most about the coaches that have been here, Coach Leslie, Coach Brown, Coach AJ. They've taken whatever, and the great coaches do this. They take the tough, the difficult, and they make it as simple as possible. It's the old KISS philosophy, right? So for these guys, so they can come in and play fast, play like their hair is on fire. And so there's going to be wires that cross up. The game's never going to be played perfectly. But when it does click and you see that light bulb kind of go off on those guys, it was great. Obi's a high school senior, playing as a mid-year guy. And so today he had a couple 3 plays that was like, oh, okay, he's improving. And that's all it springs about, getting really great at the fundamentals and just improving every day.
Give us a look at Ty French. We haven't seen him yet, know his background, and he's very successful at Gardner-Webb. So What's he been like?
He's been awesome. His body language, his energy, his athleticism, all that stuff is great. But, man, the energy that he brings and his love for football. Trey Lamb is a good buddy of mine who was coaching him at Gardner-Webb and who's now at East Tennessee State. And when I came up here, he called me up and he was congratulating all that stuff. He goes, man, you're going to get a heck of a player with Ty. And I also, when I was at App State last year, we played Gardner-Webb, and I was like, oh, that guy's good. Plus, with my South Georgia ties, he's from Colquitt County, which is a perennial powerhouse down in the state of Georgia. So I've known Ty since high school. And I'm happy he's on our side. I really am. He's a heck of a player, and y'all know John Cena. He's kind of built that way. He's in good shape.
I don't want to disparage FCS football, but a kid who puts up numbers like that, how does he fall through the cracks coming out of a very good high school that he isn't, a Power 5 guy, D1 or FBS guy?
What it is, honestly, it's probably a size thing with him. And he's probably been told for a long time that he's too small or too whatever. And I think that's what really fuels a lot of guys, especially guys like him, that are told, hey, maybe not this time. Oh, hey, come back another time. But when you have as much production as he had at Gardner-Webb, where he set the Big South sack record, that's not – I played FCS football, and I think it's a little bit different now. But that's good. No matter how you slice, that's great. So – he loves football, and he's a great teammate, and he's a good one. He's going to be a fun one to watch.
How do you see the linebacker crew leadership-wise mixing together, especially with Reed there now, just for the fact that last year that was the one position that like a Ben Cutter had to step up. They had a lot of injuries, arguably the weakest position in terms of depth.
Yep.
How do you see that kind of forming so far? How did a guy like Reed fit in?
The great thing about leadership is it takes zero talent. Leadership takes zero talent. It helps when your best players are your front guys, obviously. But that's the great thing about this game. It's next man up mentality. And Coach Coons and his staff, who, Coach Coons is one of the most organized, pays attention to detail, such a great teacher. Like, it's awesome to hear him talk to his guys. I'm learning. I'm a sponge with all these guys that are up here. And the adversity that was faced last year, it's carrying over to this year, I hope. It seems like it. And what Coach Joseph does in the weight room, I mean, this offseason I came up here and I was like, holy smokes, this is what you call an offseason workout. And they asked me if I wanted some. I said, no, I'm good. I'm going to stick to this treadmill. But no, this is a really, really fun team to be around. It really is. And I know it's early on in the spring, and we're going to see how it continues to go. But these guys come in, they want to work every day. And playing for West Virginia is important to them. And that's really what you want, especially in today's day and age.
Do you get that already on the importance of playing for West Virginia, for the state, for the people? Ren talked a lot about, even talking to Coach DeVries on you go anywhere within 4 or 5 hours, they're going to know who you are.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, I think that's no, absolutely not. You know, and it's not a directional school. You know what I mean? It's one of those deals where it just there's an incredible amount of pride that revolves around this area, and it really shows with the guys on the team. I mean, they take a bunch of pride in it. And I think us as coaches, I mean, I try to get inundated with the culture around here, because that's what I think really separates us from a lot of different guys. Just more than just tradition. And you know, nowadays with NIL and all that, I mean, you got to have some kind of foundation. This place has it. It's awesome.
Coach, when you take a new job, you know, you come here, they show you around or whatever. The first time you're kind of left alone to do the job, what's the first thing you do?
When it's all right, one more time.
So like,
Because there's a lot of firsts.
you get here, you know, they show you around everywhere.
Yep.
But like the first time you're kind of left alone, and it's like, okay, do the job.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? What's the first thing you try to do?
The first thing I did was I called up all the players that was in the group, and just I want them to know who I am and what I'm about, and how I want them to be great. Like, that's all I want for them. And I don't believe in tough love. I think love is love, and time is love, and you got to love them up, and that's good and bad and ugly. So I really hadn't had a chance to catch my breath yet, but I knew, you know, in this business, in this profession, it's a people business, and we still have to be, you know, servant-minded for these players. Like, we have to give them everything we got. And so that was really the first thing I did. That was my comfort zone. You know, the HR meetings and all that, you know, that's not my comfort zone. But getting out here and getting face-to-face and eyes-to-eyes with the guys, and learning those guys by their name and talking to their parents and introducing myself to them, that was the first thing I did, because that's where I think is most important.
You're Bandits only? You work in Spear as well?
We call them Spurs, but
Okay.
yes. Right now,
Bandits now Spur.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm. So we're working, we're primarily edge rushers, run stoppers, and pass droppers. So, three-headed monster.
Your rep in the past has been high energy. Is that fair? And how do you foster that? How does that work for you?
Yeah, I've been known as a high-energy guy for a long time. I had overcome talent, so I did that with excitement, even as a player. You know, everything that I have, I owe it to this game, honestly. I met my wife. I got 2 degrees from it. I got my profession. Took me out of where I grew up. I was the first person in my family to ever go to college, you know, and I owe it to the game, and I owe it to my coaches that helped me get to this point. So I have to bring that every single day. And that's the energy I bring every single, like, that's my why. And I love my guys, I love my family and all that stuff. But this game has given me so much, and that's why I come out with as much energy as I can. I'm gonna be wrong a lot of times, and I'll probably say some stuff that I shouldn't say, but it comes from the right place, you know. So, but yeah, everyone's a little different, but that's who I am.
They brought you in here to help on the edge rushing.
Yes, sir.
When you look back, and I'm sure you looked at film from last year and that, what do you bring? What's the key to straightening that out and getting it going?
I think what we have to make sure we do a great job of is understanding the mentality you have to have when rushing a passer. You know, as a unit, as an entire team, we led the Big 12 in sacks, correct? So as a unit, as a big team, I think they did a great job. But as a specific position, I think we only had about 2.5 sacks. Now, there was a bunch of pressures, and there was a bunch of times where we affected the passer a good bit. I think pass rushing is patience, and I think these guys have to understand that simple is better, and we just got to get more reps at it. And we got a great offensive line that we get to go against on a regular basis. So the biggest difference is just attacking our edges, making sure we know where we fit, and having a set plan as we attack every team that we go.
Did you just say pass rushing is patience?
Yes, sir.
That's counter to what you're doing.
Ain't it though? Yeah, it is. You got to. Put it this way: if you look at how many times in a season a guy, quarterbacks throw the ball, and if you as an individual have double-digit sacks, let's say they throw the ball 500 times in a season, you got all those opportunities, and you only have 10 sacks. If you're in the NFL, you're playing the Pro Bowl with double digits. So you have to understand that it's a long-term game. So being able to attack that in a short amount of time, that's where we come in as coaches. But they have to have the understanding of, look, we're setting it up for when we need to have it.
makes out 7 times.
That's right, unless you're Tony Gwynn.
Ask you about Ty French. What about Tyron Bradley? What do you see of him?
Tyron's been awesome. I've really enjoyed getting to know him a lot. I mean, he's got this fire inside of him. He wants to be great. He wants to lead. And you know, the thing with him that I've been talking to him about is just be yourself. Just be yourself. Go out there. Let me see what you got. And he does a great job in that meeting room. And I'm really happy where he's at. I came in with a clean slate, you know, with all these guys. So it's a unique position that everyone's still here, you know, aside from the safety coach from last year. So I'm in a unique position. I'm the new guy at the end of the day. So having guys like Tyron are really helpful because he knows the defense like the back of his hand. And he's awesome. He's great to be around, and he's been productive so far, and he's really trying to step up from a leadership standpoint, which I've been really excited about because he can do it. He's a very talented guy.
Would you characterize that as a advantage almost for you coming here, that you're coming as the new guy on a staff that already has continuity together versus if you and 6 other coaches were coming together or there was a new head coach? Would that be a different? How is that different?
It's a little different just because, you know, the best thing about it, Coach Leslie was the outside linebackers coach. So if I have any questions about anything, he's right there, and he's always there to help anyway. I mean, he'll fill in some gaps for me of the things that are somewhat new to me, which has been great. And you know, at the end of the day, we all want to win. You know, we all want to win, and we all want to be great for this football team and these great fans. And whatever it takes to do that, we're going to do. But as the new guy and being around, like Coach Shaddam Brown, Coach, everybody is super helpful around here and has been awesome. But it's been good. It's been awesome.
Coach Leslie mentioned that every time he looked around, he felt like on the recruiting trail and out, he would see you work in the same place. And obviously that played in some of that friendship that you all have talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, on the road, after the day's work's done, get together, hashing things out that aren't, you know, obviously team related. Is that part of that building, friendship building?
Absolutely. It starts off as a professional respect for one another. And then when you get to know him, I'm like, oh, that guy's actually not that bad. Actually a great guy. We got a lot in common. But it's funny, when he brought up those things about going to the wrestling meet and all those kind of deals, he only talked about the guys that he won, that he got. He didn't say about the ones that I got. No, I'm just kidding. But that was fun. I was like, yep, I'm back. Good to see you again. But yeah, that's when you meet really good people, and I think a lot of these coaches, a lot of our coach world, yeah, we all have a mutual respect for a lot of guys. But when you can start forming those guys that are be like in a circle, you know, we really got really close during COVID also. Me and him and a couple other defensive line coaches and defensive coaches in general from all different levels would get on Zoom calls and really get to know each other and talk ball. And, you know, it was really good. So, yeah, it's I'm very happy to be here and very grateful for Coach Brown and Coach Leslie for sure.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.